Well, I'm hearing boos in the audience. The Constitution, yes, they did. Three elections in a row.
You cannot compare
I can, because they're going through what they deem to be a legal process. I think it's illegal, no matter which party does it. Because there's nowhere in the Constitution that says Congress gets to certify the election. They don't even use that word. This is based on an old 1886 law from the Reconstruction era. It's for a very different situation. We need to get rid of that entire process.
We need to have a full page one rewrite of the Constitution, not that there aren't some great...
Last time, we showed you how Bill Maher dismantled Kaitlan Collins live on air, but let's be honest, we only scratched the surface. We left out some jaw-dropping moments, and because, well, time. But not today. In this video, we're rewinding the tape to the exact moment Maher sent Collins crashing. No gloves, no mercy. And just when you think it couldn't get worse, we're exposing how Kaitlan plays dirty, setting smug little traps to trip up both Trump and J.D. Vance, all so she can spin the fallout into her next media circus. Buckle up, folks. Bill Maher's back, and this round. It's a verbal beatdown you do not want to miss. Make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss another takedown like this.
To act like what Democrats have done before, which is often something that Republicans, when we have them on my show, say when we talk about January 6th and the fake electors and Trump refusing to admit that he lost the election. There was barely a peaceful transfer of power. They actually wouldn't even allow them to move forward with getting federal funding to start the transition for weeks. I remember it was because we found out about a little known position that no one in the federal government even really knew much about because of that. But also, the difference then is Joe Biden went and certified the election. He was the vice president then, and he certified Donald Trump's election and
so did Mike
there
Pence.
was not a massive...
because
Mike Pence was pressured not to by Donald Trump.
The entire process of certification is bullshit.
Before Bill Maher even steps in, lock in on what Kaitlan Collins just did, because this moment sets the stage for everything that follows. To Kaitlan, Republicans aren't just wrong, they're villains, evil incarnate. And in her world, they must be dragged, discredited, and dismissed at every turn. Meanwhile, Democrats? Oh, they basically walk on water. Did you catch how she praised Joe Biden for certifying the 2017 election like he was some kind of Democratic messiah? But the second someone pointed out that Mike Pence did the exact same thing in 2021, Collins scrambled to brush it off, like it never mattered. That's not selective memory. That's tactical hypocrisy. This isn't journalism, it's political theater. Kaitlan doesn't just wear her bias. She wraps herself in it like armor. She's not here to inform. She's here to spin, twist, and tear down anything that doesn't serve her narrative. And in her world, if you're not Team Blue, you're the enemy. Maybe that's why Trump called her a nasty person, because he saw the mask before most people did.
Democrats opened this door, Republicans ran through it. Congress, I'm hearing boos in the audience. The Constitution, yes, they did. Three elections in a row.
You cannot compare
I can, because they're going through what they deem to be a legal process. I think it's illegal, no matter which party does it. Because there's nowhere in the Constitution that says Congress gets to certify the election. They don't even use that word. This is based on an old 1886 law from the Reconstruction era. It's for a very different situation. We need to get rid of that entire process.
We need to have a full page one rewrite of the Constitution, not that there aren't some great things in it.
We have the oldest Constitution in the world.
Right, and some of it is ridiculous. I live in a state with 40 million people, and I get 2 senators, and the Dakota Territory gets 4.
But enough setup. Let's roll the tape and watch as Bill Maher absolutely obliterates Kaitlan Collins for exactly this kind of behavior.
This is a really important point, Kaitlan. Who is the number 3 person from the Biden Department of Justice who went to work for the New York prosecutor just months before he brought this case against Donald Trump? You can't have people moving from the Biden administration to prosecute Donald Trump in New York and say it has nothing to do with the Biden administration, especially when the judge is the Biden administration donor.
To local DA's offices all the time. That's not that unusual. I mean, you're an attorney, you know that.
It's pretty
you probably
unusual.
Have colleagues who went to Yale with you that did that.
It's pretty unusual for the number 3 person in the Department of Justice to then go to the New York prosecutor's office to bring a bogus case against Donald Trump, and then to have the judge presiding over that case to be a donor to Biden-Harris. I think that's pretty unusual, Kaitlan, and really is, aside from your views or anyone else's views about Donald Trump, this is a real threat to Americans' trust in the legal system.
And just like that, Bill Maher dismantles Kaitlan Collins with precision. He doesn't need to name names. His message cuts straight through the noise. The double standards, blown wide open. Because let's be real, If a part of the Constitution is outdated nonsense, it's outdated nonsense, no matter who's in power. But Kaitlan? She finds outrage only when it fits her team's agenda. When Republicans invoke constitutional authority, it's suddenly a threat to democracy. Yet when Democrats do the same thing, she treats the document like it's gospel. That's not journalism, it's partisan theater. Maher called it out. Not just the Constitution's flaws, but the media's cowardice in refusing to say what needs to be said. His challenge? Be consistent, be honest, and stop bending facts around political loyalty. Meanwhile, Collins keeps playing PR rep for Team Blue, smirking through interviews, cherry-picking narratives, and spinning every story to fit her playbook. Still not convinced? Let me show you exactly what I mean.
His attorney argued that a president could order the military to stage a coup and to have their political opponent assassinated and be immune from prosecution unless this theory that they were impeached and then convicted by the Senate. Do you share the view that presidents are basically above the law?
Look, Kaitlan, I think we have to be careful about imputing words into the president's attorneys that they didn't actually say. What the president's attorney said is that what the president's attorney said, Kaitlan, to be clear, is that there is a checks and balances system in our Constitution. Now, some things the president does, private acts, are liable to criminal penalties, but most of the things that the president does in their official duties, we have a system of impeachment, we have a system of checks and balances, the legislative branch that I'm a member of, the judicial branch. I did not read the president's attorneys as saying that the president could order a coup. The president's attorneys are saying that the constitutional checks and balances system would address that problem, and I think that's an important distinction.
But let me stop you right there, because I listened to this. It's John Sauer, Trump's attorney, and when he was asked by one of the justices if the president could order the military to stage a coup...
JD. Vance didn't flinch, not for a second. He saw the setup coming from a mile away. The Democratic machine in full attack mode. Their mission, keep Trump out of the White House at all costs. And right there on cue, CNN's Kaitlan Collins playing her role in the script like clockwork, but Vance wasn't playing defense. He went full offense. He called her out, boldly, directly, no filter. When she tried to paint Trump as the mastermind of a so-called coup, Vance cut through the spin. He slammed her for twisting Trump's words, weaponizing language, and manufacturing a narrative that didn't exist. It wasn't journalism. It was prosecution with a press pass. Mic dropped. In that one exchange, Vance flipped the script and shattered the illusion. Collins wasn't asking questions. She was building a case, but Vance refused to be the defendant. And just like that, the power dynamic snapped.
I'm sorry, but she's only a star with leftists. And the fact that she has some roots in Alabama does not make her a fair and balanced reporter. I will submit to the record, her biggest sin is not that she is biased, though she is. It's that she's boring. She's extremely boring with no personality. I have a pro tip for her. Smile. Try smiling every once in a while. Try not to be, like, in your delivery, such a cold-hearted all the time, because it gives people nothing to bond to. You can be a tough interviewer and also have some more.
You see what Kaitlan's doing, right? It's textbook Collins, sneaking. In arguments that Trump's legal team never even made. She's not clarifying facts, she's baiting traps. Every question is laced with spin, crafted not to inform but to score a viral gotcha with her base. This isn't journalism, it's performance art. But here's the reality check. Presidents, past and present, have made controversial moves. Some, in hindsight, might look questionable, even criminal. But when done in the role of commander-in-chief, prosecution gets legally murky. And Trump? He didn't deploy tanks or issue military orders. He called on his supporters to protest peacefully. Yes, a few crossed the line, and no one's excusing that. But the legal core of this debate is simple. Were Trump's words a call for civil unrest or a call to overthrow the government? That's the real question. But Kaitlan doesn't let facts do the talking. She rewrites the script mid-interview and hopes no one notices.